Hello, everyone. Welcome to the first episode of Careers in Care, a podcast designed to provide more information about careers in health and healthcare administration. I'm Praneeth Saja,
I'm Niral Modi.
And I'm Megna Vergis.
and we are representing Cure for Care, a project aiming to help raise awareness and develop careers related to healthcare administration. It is our immense pleasure to have Mr. Niral Modi, a pharmacist at the Texan Pharmacy, to discuss about careers in healthcare, give some insights into the field, and share his own experience. Good evening, Mr. Modi. Thank you for
Good
spending
evening.
your valuable time to be a guest for us today.
Thank you. Thank you.
So, Mr. Modi, can you introduce yourself and tell us what you do for a living?
Yeah, sure. So my name is Niral Modi, and I'm actually PharmD. I came in USA in 2009, and I studied my doctorate from Salt Lake City, Utah, and then I moved to Texas, and I'm working with the Texan Pharmacy currently as a head pharmacist over there. And I'm mainly the clinical pharmacist, so I do more like a clinical work for the patients.
Oh, I see, Mr. Mood. Is Texan Pharmacy your first job that you started yet, or is it the first job, or have you done any previous jobs before, in between 2009 and current?
No, so this is my third job. I started working in Utah, and then I moved to Texas. I was in Southwest Texas, and then I moved to the Austin because of the more opportunity and more different clinical aspect and the client base.
I see.
So that brings us to our next question. So, what exactly are the roles of a pharmacy, and what's the role of a pharmacist?
Well, basically, the pharmacist is the bridge between the doctors and the patients. Especially in USA, there are so many needs. There are so many necessity for the healthcare professional. The pharmacist is the front end worker that anybody can ask the questions. Like if you have just an example, if you have to see the doctor, you have to make an appointment. You have to wait until you get the next appointment. Compared to, we do have same amount of study and plus more clinical knowledge. So it's easy access for the patients that they can come and get an opinion and at least can try to take care of their initial needs with the pharmacist. And also, it's a easy access for the nurses to get in contact with the patients and the doctors.
Okay. So you mentioned that you were a clinical pharmacist. So are there
Yeah.
different types of pharmacists?
Yeah. So clinical pharmacist means you have more work with the hospitals, more like an inpatient that are administered, or if you are doing more with the special needs for the patients compared to the regular pharmacists. Basically they just have a bachelor degrees, so the clinical pharmacists are more like a doctorate, so we have to get additional degrees to get a clinical pharmacist.
Okay. So you work more with hospitals rather than
we do we do hospitals plus retail, but main focus for us is more like a patient counseling, uh, patient advices. There is a medication therapy management. We do the management for the medications.
Mhm.
So although we do the immunization, so it's all includes in the clinic pharmacist.
So, you're kind of like the first resource for anyone who may have questions about their medicine or have issues regarding their health?
Yes, definitely. We are like we can not refer to any doctors, but we can at least guide them, like as a primary resource, like what might be the wrong or what should they look for. Um, or if somebody has a family doctor or the primary doctor, we can consult with the doctor directly for the patient needs. And plus, the way this healthcare is going, the way it's all going right now, it's more like insurance based. There is no like a more like personal care. Everybody has to go through the insurance. Whatever the insurance covers, the patient has to get it. So we do recommend to the doctors, if medicine is not covered, we give them 4 different options or 5 different options that this is covered, and we kind of help the patients for those.
Oh, I see. Um, this brings to the next question, which is, what inspired you to pursue a career in pharmacy? Did you always know that this was the profession you always wanted to pursue?
Well, so there are two aspects. Like the pharmacy, when I came to USA, I mean, that was my whole goal. Um, since I was a kid, I liked more biology, and I was more into the healthcare from the beginning. So I just used my career according to the more like a healthcare professional, and I just wanted to keep pursuing that. And when I came here, I had a different option open, like going to the pharmacist, going through the physician assistant or the doctor. And to become a doctor is a little bit more expensive compared to the pharmacist, and plus you need to put up a lot of your years in the studies if you have to be a doctor. And especially nowadays, just a doctor is not more than enough. You have to be more specialized, like either you go for the cardiology or dermatology. You have to be specialized, so that additional 4 5 years, so it's so much loan and expenses that not everybody is able to afford everything. So the pharmacist is a better perspective than the doctors. That's what I personally thought.
Oh, I see. So I think you had a plan generally in India itself that you want to go into this career and you moved to the United States, most probably to um, do further studies.
Yes.
You know
So
that
mhm.
I know that like a lot of people and students, as you mentioned, are like interested in like biology and healthcare, but a lot of them are like the idea of like spending so many years in school is like daunting to them. So definitely like the career of a pharmacist shares like a lot of commonalities with like the career of a doctor, but it doesn't require as much like commitment as like a doctor does in terms of like time and like money.
Well, that is not actually right. I mean, it depends on the pharmacist and depends on the pharmacy you work with. So like the private pharmacy is more towards the patient, like a lean compared to the chain stores. Um, like we do have a responsibility off hours. Our phone lines are open 24 hours. Um, we do get the emergency orders like the doctors do. So it all depends on how you set up your practice. Like you have an option to do either not like in clinical emergency pharmacy, or you can just do like 9 to 7. But mine is, I mean, we do more like our phone lines are open 24 hours, 7 days. If anybody needs any help, we usually check the voice messages every hour. Plus the our email is always open. So we want to make sure we don't miss any opportunity to take care of the patients. We do work with the hospitals. We do work with the hospice. I don't know if you guys are familiar with hospice, but hospice is the last stage patients that needs the critical care. So it depends on the pharmacy, and like private pharmacies are more lean towards the patient care, especially the off hours. The big pharmacies are open more hours, and they don't do the same that the private pharmacy. There is some difference between those two.
It seems that those primary driving forces, though, like a love of biology and a desire to help people and heal people, still remains the same. So anybody who's interested in those two areas would definitely be able to branch out if perhaps they were thinking about being a doctor and instead be a pharmacist or another similar career.
Yes, definitely. I mean, it all depends on what they want to pursue. I mean, it's all depends on like if somebody is not able to use the needles and the syringes, they are scared of the needles, they are scared of the blood and everything, then the doctor is not a good place to go with. They need to come up with pharmacists. The same thing, we do come with the needles and stuff, but not like the doctors do. We do immunization, but so all this kind of considers, and plus like you have to also see family and everything, like what is more important. So it all kind of comes together, like if you want to pursue with the doctor or just like a PA is also the good field that is less stressful compared to doctors and pharmacists.
So, what were some of the activities that you participated in or things that you did which helped you find your passion?
So we were we were doing so many healthcare camps. Like we were joining the camps. We were going to, if any small occasion, we like to join. Like when I was a student, we used to have a go to the nursing homes. We had to go to the old facilities. We had to check their blood pressures. We had to check their blood sugar. So like it kind of motivates you to go further. Um, they ask a lot of first aid treatment. What's the first aid treatment for any patients, like CPR training and like BLS training and all those. Plus, in a routine, when you see the medicines that people are taking, when you talk to your relatives, when you talk to your grandparents, and it kind of makes you think about, okay, why they're taking this medicine? Let me look for it. It's like a self-motivation. That's what they go for. So, I mean, it depends on all criteria, how you are and like what environment you live in. Like I have some family members, they are already in the healthcare professional. So I'm kind of been treated like that. Then I have seen medicines, I have seen all these things, and it kind of gives me more interesting.
Oh, so going to these camps and the facilities, the old age homes, I think they really motivated you because you also get to see the reality and what they're struggling with and what type of problems they have. And at the same time, I think that motivated you a lot.
Yes, definitely. The people you live with, the people you surround with makes a big difference.
What skills did you learn from these activities? How did they apply in the future while you were working in the pharmacy?
I'm sorry?
I'm sorry, too. What skills did you learn from these activities? How did they apply to your future while working in pharmacy?
You say skills?
Yes. What type of? I think what was the takeaway from these healthcare camps and visiting old age homes? And what did you learn from them?
Well, so the skill, I mean, you come up with the contact with a lot of people. You meet them first time. You learn how to listen to the people. We all are so busy in our life that if somebody says something, we don't have time to listen to them. So like kind of gives you be patience, like respect to each other, listen to the people, get to know more and more people, and also like help them whatever they need during the whole conversation. And you kind of build up the relation that kind of lasts for longer, because the pharmacist is the most trusted person. Like people trust them. Whatever you say, they listen to them and they try to follow that. The doctor give the medicine, but the counseling is done by the pharmacist. So they just tell this is a blood pressure medicine, but we don't just tell it's a blood pressure. We tell them how to take it, what to watch for. So they kind of listen to us, and that is very important.
A lot of the skills that you're talking about, they seem very much related to empathy and interpersonal relationships. Would you say
Yes.
that working on these skills is something that will develop anyone who's interested in entering healthcare or pharmaceuticals?
Yes, the main skill, not only like how smart you are, how good you know the medications, but the more important is how you bring that to the patients, like how you talk to the patients. Like if you know, let's say like 1,000 things, but if you don't know how to present to the patients, then it doesn't work. You have to come up with the reality. Sometimes you cannot have the same answer for all the patients. You have to look at what the needs are, what they're looking for, and what can help them for the longer term. So those makes a big difference. Knowledge is important, but also at the same time, how you use the knowledge is more important.
Like exposing yourself to like various situations in healthcare like allows you to like learn how to interact with different types of people, which is like essential to like the career of a pharmacist or like any career in healthcare for that matter.
Yes. Yeah, I mean, pharmacy, doctor offices, those places are not a fun place to come.
Mm-hmm.
It's not that you're going to eat the burger or pizza or something. If something is wrong, that's why people come there.
Yeah.
So you have to make sure you help them out, you make them happy, that they can take the positive message with the medicine, not just, you don't scare them that this is not a good medicine or it will hurt you. You have to make them positive, or you give them positive feedback. So those kind of things makes big help for the patients.
Mm-hmm. So you have to like support them as they
Yeah,
are.
you have to support them, right? I mean, pharmacy, like people don't come to the pharmacy, okay, let me go to the pharmacy today. And it's not a like usual thing. Unless something is wrong or they need it, then they come.
So like moving on, so going into like college and like higher education, which area of studies did you pursue and where did you like study these? And why did you choose these like particular areas or majors?
So, it's like a step-by process. So like back in India, when you pass the 10th exam, you decide like whether you want to go with the science or the commerce. So like you kind of build up your skill. I'm not sure about here how it works, but then you go for the science, then you go like in science you kind of see which one is your, when you study you can easily recognize yourself, like do you like more physics or do you like more biology, do you like more maths, more like chemistry. So it kind of gives you an idea a little bit like what exactly kind of works. I mean, since I was studying, I was good in chemistry and the biology. And then the maths, like the third one. So I wasn't so much good in the physics and all those. So I just kind of like my passion, the one I was doing it. And I just pursue like that. I went for my master's in the biology here. Then when I was doing my master's, I did my doctorate. And so it kind of drags you the way, you want to be. I would just tell like, don't be pressured with someone, whatever you like, whatever, all the fields are good. There is nothing wrong. It just depends on how you put your input into it.
Okay,
It's
so
like
And
pursue and follow your own passion.
Yeah, people say like 1,000 things, do this or do that. But I mean, after all, whatever you like, makes you happy. I mean, if you make $100 million, but if you're not happy with your job, I mean, it's not going to work. Do what you like.
And I think just to relate this to students in the US, since I've heard about the way that Indian education, works in that sense, but it's not exactly like how it is in the US. This would be the equivalent of when you're choosing your courses, like AP courses. This would be
Right.
the equivalent of putting your focus in those fields of biology, chemistry, math, and really focusing your energy on the passions that you need.
Yes, definitely. Here, I mean, that I like it. And the good thing I like is not only focusing on the studies, extra curriculum and everything kind of makes a big difference for anybody. Like we personally, me and like other of my colleagues and everything, like we didn't have this much like exposure with the people when we were studying. We all were like scared of speaking to the people in the front of the people because we didn't get those atmosphere. But here it's a different, you kind of get a presentation, everything that kind of makes you big help for the future.
okay, so we can clearly see that there's a discrepancy between how it works in India, where you have limited opportunities. However, since you built your interest, you came to the United States and you kind of followed your own path. So we can see that how if you're in the United States, you have a bit of an advantage that you can get exposed to these AP careers, other extra opportunities.
Yes.
So, kind of going off of that, how prepared did you feel for this field once you graduated? And, how did you get those first steps in your career?
Well, so that's a good motivation that from the school, from the doctorate that we were doing. They were putting the same amount of time with the studies in the curriculum at the same time with the practical um, knowledge. Like every once in a week, we have to go to the hospitals for the rotations. We have to go to the retail pharmacies to get an experience. So we were getting exposure right from the day one since we were in the doctorate. Um, the same amount of hours that we study, we have to put the same hours outside of the curriculum, and we have to go outside and do the internship, working with the pharmacy, working with the hospitals. So when we step out, when we graduated, we didn't feel like, what we will do, how we will survive and all this. We already knew what to do.
So because of all your exposure in college, because of all your passion, which is very important, you had a lot of confidence when you entered the field, and you weren't scared of, or skepticism. You didn't have skepticism about whether you still want to be in this field or you want to change this field and go to something else.
No, I mean, I love the field. I like the way I'm doing it. You have to keep updated each and every time. Like you cannot do the same thing like from the beginning. Everything changes. There are so many medicine coming in the market. There is so many new treatments are generating that not used to be before. So you have to kind of keep updating yourself, and you have to divert your practice according to the needs. Like you cannot have the same practice like old generation. You have to divert according to the new treatments and everything. So you kind of update it, but as long as you keep up with the pace and everything, then you like it. Uh, Otherwise, you kind of think like, okay, let me change the career. But I don't think so. It's an issue at all. I mean, I love the way I'm doing it, and I keep doing my continuing education every once in a while just to make sure that I'm up to date with the healthcare.
So would you say that, oh, sorry.
Right, you can go ahead.
Would you say that flexibility is a thing that you needed to learn once you entered the field or even before?
Yeah, flexibility. I mean, what kind of a, like you're talking about, like
I
for the
mean, like
work-wise?
in multiple aspects, I suppose, because not every patient is going to react to, every piece of news or every new piece of medicine the same way. Not every, medicine will stay the same. Like,
Yeah. So definitely the knowledge helps. The thing happens in the private practice, like we do. We do get a call from the doctors that this patient has this issue. What will be the treatment, or what you can do? We need some suggestions from the pharmacists. So when they ask you, you should be prepared yourself. You don't expect that they will use your recommendation, but at least you should be ready from your side that you don't look like you don't know anything. At least you should be ready from your side that, okay, this is what they're asking. You have these 4 options, and this is what the recommendations are. Not all the medicines work the same way. Some has to be focused more on the kidneys, some has to focus on the liver. So you have to have a knowledge which one works on the kidneys, which one works on the liver. You cannot just presume everything. That's why there are so many medicines out there, because each works differently and each population is different. Some works for the white people, some doesn't work in the white. Some works in the like Asian people, that medicine doesn't work in the white people. So it all depends. It all depends on how their genes are, how their DNA are. All makes a big help. All makes a big difference.
Okay. Well, similarly, you did answer this question. You have learned these important skills, exposure, and passion mainly. But what advice would you really give to someone who wants to enter this field? Because currently there are a lot of students who have so many ideas, so many different options to choose from. So what would you highly suggest to them?
Well, I will just go with whatever you like, and whatever you do, try to be on the top. Like, don't just go with the flow that people are doing. You know, if you like something different than what people like it, I mean, go for it. I'm not that big person or big enough to recommend anybody. I'm very small. I just have experience for like 7-8 years. I'm not that big person to advise somebody like what to do, but at least the way I did, the way I'm saying it, like, do whatever you like and do with the passion. Put 100% into it. Don't just depend on someone, or don't keep changing your career. Like, if you know this is what I want to do, then go for it. But like, right, we think we have 100 thoughts, but then when we wake up next day, we have a different 100 thoughts. Like, we don't keep up with our thoughts. We just keep changing our thinking.
Like, pursue your passion and like stick to it.
Yeah, like one day, you see the movie, okay, I want to become this. The next day, if somebody watches something else, okay, now I want to do this. I mean, it doesn't work. You have to make sure like what you want to do, just stick with it. Like, you will see hundreds of fields out there, but you have to go with whatever you like.
Like, kind of going off of that, so did you like encounter any challenges in your career, and like how did you overcome these challenges?
Oh yeah, we do get every once in a while so many challenges. I mean, it happens a lot. Like, you learn a lot from that. You do like the medicine wise, sometimes the insurance doesn't cover. Then you have to kind of ask for the patient, like whether you want to pay this or whether you want to call the doctor office. Sometimes the patient cannot afford the medicine, so then it's your decision, like whether you want to give them or what do you want to do. But challenges come every once in a while, especially whenever you are front end worker, the challenges will be there. No matter how you are, but you will have a challenges, because the people on the other hand, they don't know all this. They just blindly trust everyone and they don't know what to do. So the challenges are always there.
So kind of going like more specific into that, into like recent events. So this year we've seen like the COVID-19 pandemic, and it was like very unexpected. So what role did pharmacies and what role do they play now in being prepared for these type of like medical crises? And how can we be better prepared in the future?
Well, I mean, the way it is right now and the way we are doing right now is more and more education for the patients. Don't take this lightly, like, and this is something, if you think lightly, it causing effect to different person.
Yeah.
Like, if you don't wear a mask or if you don't keep a distance, you're affecting someone else too. So always think about others, don't just assume, like, don't be selfish. At the same time, the main problem with the COVID is it's asymptomatic. Like, you don't know who has a COVID and who doesn't. So to take a precaution and guide somebody to take a precaution in a good manner makes a big difference. We don't want to hurt anybody's ego, or we don't want to advise anybody, but whatever is necessary, we should tell them in the right way, in the right manner.
Yeah.
So awareness. I'm sorry.
Yeah, go ahead.
Okay, so I was just mentioning about how awareness is very important, and just not thinking about yourself, but at the same time, you need to look around yourself. And this is not only for COVID, but natural disasters as well. Whenever you look at a natural disaster in TVs, you usually don't act a lot. I feel like we could have done much more by donating and such things. So awareness is very important in these situations.
Yeah, awareness, like advertising and everything, is definitely makes a big help for the people. And try to absorb as much as information you can. And if you don't know, then ask any healthcare professional, call the healthcare line and get your suggestions. If you don't feel good, if you feel like you are sick and stuff, then don't go out. Just stay home.
Yeah.
And um, don't to be smart, I mean, just if you're not sick, if you think you are not able to healthy 100%, then don't go out. It affects someone else. Keep wearing the mask always when you're out. Keep washing your hands. um, Use the sanitizer each and every time. Like whatever you can do from your point of view, do it.
So like connecting to that, like how specifically were pharmacies affected? Like I know in the beginning of the pandemic, there was like a shortage of PPE and ventilators. Were pharmacies like affected or like overwhelmed by this pandemic?
So the good thing is like we don't have to worry about PPs and ventilators, but we did come like, especially like for us, like we do compounding, and we were not able to get some supplies for the compounding. So like the basic needs, we need to have a alcohol, the isopropyl alcohol, to clean the space each time when we make a compound. And because of the hand sanitizer shortage and everything, we didn't be able to get this enough supply for the cleaning. So we couldn't make all the compounds for the patients because we didn't have enough supply to do it. Plus, we had to keep a distance like 3 or 2 people at a time in the pharmacy. So that also definitely affects the business. And because of all this, the more patients are willing to go towards the deliveries and like mail outs compared to pick up from the pharmacy. So we lost some connection with the patients. Like before patients were coming to the pharmacy, we were talking to them. We were able to counsel them much better way. But now we have to do more on the phones. So you don't get that personal touch with the patients. Like you don't know whom you're talking with. You just talk to them. I mean, you don't see them. So that kind of makes a big difference. Like, but overall, I mean, it's good that people are taking precaution, not going more out. But each and everything has a pros and cons, So we did come up with some, but it's getting normal. I mean, people are getting used to it, which is a good sign. And hopefully everything will be better pretty soon.
So like coming to like hopefully everything will be better. I know like a vaccine is like all the talk right now. So once a vaccine is created, what role will pharmacies play in like getting the vaccine out to the general public?
Well, yeah, so we are all prepared actually. We already have a training and everything. We all are certified immunizers. So this is where the pharmacy plays a big role. Like people cannot get easy access with the doctor offices. Compared to the pharmacy, they can walk in and we can provide them vaccine right away. So all this kind of makes a big help. So we all are prepared. We do get all the vaccines. We already ready for it.
Okay.
We are expecting them to be coming pretty soon. The only thing is how confident people are. It all depends on the patients. I mean, because of the way is going right now, whether to listen to the healthcare or the politicians. So that kind of worries us. Like, should we recommend or not?
So this also again demonstrates awareness and how pharmacists are already prepared. I'm thinking in the future that there will be a vaccine available soon and how we will get them delivered. Moving on, I also heard Mr. Modi that Texan Pharmacy does compounding and free delivery. In what way is Texan Pharmacy unique when compared to other pharmacies like CVS, Walgreens, etc.?
I mean, the main thing is not only Texan Pharmacy, but any majority of the private pharmacies, uh, they know their patients. Like the patient, when they walk in, they don't feel like they are going to get the medicines. I mean, they feel like they will be better, and that's what they're coming here. So that's the first thing that they notice. The second thing is the service. We try to provide them as much as better service as we can. I'm not saying that CVS and Walgreens is not good in service. They are better in their own way, but the way their client base is, the way they are busy, they cannot afford, or they cannot give the same service that the private pharmacy can.
Yeah.
So, all depends on the patients, and we do like a delivery service for the patients. We can help them on their payment options. We can refer for the other medicines. We can do more counseling, and we can spend more time with the patients compared to in the big stores, because they have large volume and they cannot afford to spend that much time with the patients.
So private pharmacies like give more personalized care than say larger pharmacies like Walgreens or CVS.
That I can say proudly, like, because I do that and I know what I'm different from the other pharmacy. That I can definitely say proudly. It's just I cannot say that the CVS and Walgreens is not doing their job.
Mm-hmm.
They are doing it, but they are way busy. They are way big that they cannot control that much like we do.
Mm-hmm. They have like a different purpose.
Yes, they have a different purpose, and like they are busy. They are way busy, so they cannot afford to spend that much time.
Mm-hmm.
And Mr. Modi, quick question, just to clarify for any listeners who may not know, what exactly is a compounding pharmacy?
Compounding means we do make a medicine that is not available in the market as a commercial basis. Just an example, that is a medicine for the blood pressure. Now, if any pediatric patient, any kid needs that medicine for the blood pressure, which is not available itself in the United States, so we do make it. If patient cannot swallow the tablets, we can make it in the liquid form. Same happens with the kids, like the blood pressure medicine, they come in the tablets. But like 2 months old or the 3-month old kid cannot expect to be swallow the tablet. So we do make them in the liquid. We make different creams and the capsules, we put it together. So the people doesn't have to take many capsules, so they don't have to spend a lot of time to buying a lot of medication. They can buy like 3 or 4 medicines together in one single medicine. So this is kind of market where not everybody looking for those kind of a service. So some of the patient has a special needs, and we can provide them special needs.
Okay, so this also shows how Texan Pharmacy is unique to some other pharmacies, because I don't think every single pharmacy would be a compounding pharmacy. And compounding, as you just mentioned, is very important because it also provides medicines that are not available immediately, or that the citizens don't have access to as quickly as a pharmacy compounding does, or compounding, for instance.
Yes, and yeah, I mean, that's the biggest point. I mean, that's the biggest issue that we do. And we love to do that. We are always happy to do that.
So, Mr. Modi, how have pharmacies as an industry or a career changed over the years? And how do you think pharmacies will continue to grow in the future?
Well, it's changed a lot. I can say not every pharmacy is able to survive right now because of the way the insurance companies are taking over the healthcare industry, which is very frustrating for any healthcare professionals. Like, we cannot uh, give the right way the service that we need for the patients, because the insurance companies will not allow us to dispense or allow the patients to get what they needed. The patient and the pharmacy need to adjust according to the insurance needs. And the main thing is, more and more insurance companies are going towards a mail order, that people are forced to get the mail order, and they cannot go and pick up the prescription at the local pharmacy. They have to wait in their mail to get the medicines. So all this kind of getting more and more challenging. And hopefully, somebody will bring the old, like, a passion back, to take care of the right way the needs, rather than more like a business perspective. Like right now, it's getting more towards the business, that okay, this is a business, not like a healthcare.
Okay.
That's what we are seeing right now.
it's becoming like more commercialized, and that's like limiting your like capacity to help people.
Right, it's getting more commercial, that which is true. It's getting more business. Like people are looking towards the numbers, not towards the what
Actual,
they need, like a actual care that patient needs.
okay.
Right. Do you also think, Mr. Modi, that technology has played a huge role in transforming what pharmacies look like? Because obviously, in 1960s, with limited technology, there might be restricted access or less access to resources. But right now, due to technology, do you think that has improved and gave pharmacies just more options and exposure?
Yes, the technology has a pros and cons both. I can say definitely it helped a lot um, for us as a regular practice. Uh, but at the same time, because of the technology, people read online and they read so many stuff, and they come up with the wrong interpretation with the reading online. So all this kind of makes a big difference for having a technology or not. Like when we talk to the patients, they kind of read themselves online and they read something else, and we have to guide them that this is a general point, like it doesn't belong to you.
Okay.
But at the same time, the prescription amount has been gone up. Before, people were not taking this many medicines, there were not this many diseases, and there were not this many treatments.
Mhm.
So before, like, patient might be taking 1 or 2 medicines, now patient taking 5 or 6 medicines. So the volume has gone up a lot. So the technology helps to keep that volume. Like we don't have a robot right now, but there are some pharmacies now have a robot, like that the medicine has been counted itself. And the disadvantage for that is you don't need a technicians, so you kind of losing the cycle of the economy, that you depend on technology. So instead of hiring 4 people, you will just hire 1 person.
Yeah.
And so all this kind of makes a big difference. Technology is good on its way, but we don't want to break the economic cycle that people are earning money and then they're spending it. And that's what happening with the technology.
I think that's like the case for almost all the industries.
Yeah, like the cycle is not there, everybody's getting online. So
Mhm.
like you don't get that feeling like a retail, like people don't talk to each other anymore. They're getting scared of the socialize.
Okay, so there's also pros and cons for technology because usually what I've seen familiar with the medical industry is whenever instead of consulting doctors or more professionals in the field, they start Googling and they might find inaccurate results. But at the same time, there's also pros for technology and how it has aided pharmacy to just get more options.
Yes.
Okay, well, those are all the questions that we have for you today, Mr. Modi. Thank you so much for spending a lot of your time with us and giving so many elaborate answers.
Well, thank you, and I'm sorry that I couldn't attend the first time. And let me know, guys. Anybody? I mean, Aman has my number. But if you guys need any help, I mean, feel free to contact me. I'll be happy to take care of you guys. Any of your projects or anything you need, if you have to come to the pharmacy
Mhm.
for the exposure, how it works, and everything, you guys are welcome to come by. Okay, so let me know anything we can do.
Yeah,
Thank
thank
you
you
so
so much.
much. And to just recap our meeting, we just received some valuable insights into the education required to kickstart and pursue your role in pharmacy. We also learned some essential skills to succeed in this field from a professional, of course, Mr. Modi. Thank you all for listening and see you next time.